the neighbor continued to start as a form of bullying, and my son kept ignoring him. And on one particular day, my son called me, and we were laughing on the phone, having a good time. And um, he was like, "Okay, Mom, I love you. Let me call my pops." His dad called me about 10 minutes later, and he heard he heard someone threaten my son, said he was gonna kill him, and my his dad heard gunshot, gunfire. He called me uh, and said, you know, he heard gunshot. He didn't hear anything else on the other end. So I kept calling my son's phone. Of course, I didn't get an answer. Next thing we know, um, turns out the other fellow had lost his life. My son had been arrested for murder. So um, my son, it was it was self defense. Long story short, so um, my family started getting death threats over social media via Facebook. We started getting death threats over the social media. So my son's dad, he went to pay the lawyer for for his case, and the death threats became reality. The nephew of the deceased did a drive by, and they shot my son's dad in the back. Um, so they did try to take out try to kill my son's dad. Um, Fortunately, my son's dad was not killed. He was seriously hurt. Um, uh, he was seriously hurt. The guy also had a ankle monitor on, and a few days later, the SWAT team went and picked him up. While my son was in jail, the I got a call. The police department where he was locked up, one of the jail attendants called me about 11 o'clock at night and said he was doing his rounds and noticed that my son was moved to an isolated area where they had let a couple other offenders into my son's cell to jump on him, but my son had beat up the offenders that they brought in to fight him. So um, when he beat those two guys up, they brought in another. Long story short, they were bringing in offenders to fight my son to try to kill him. So when the fight, I got the call at 11 o'clock. They He reported that the fight happened at 8 o'clock. So I started calling, not knowing that I was in the corrections um, field myself, and at that time I was a supervisor. I ended up calling every hour on the hour, to check on my son at this point, and I knew exactly what questions to ask. So I called in the morning to find out, why wasn't I notified at, such and such time? Why wasn't there use of force? You know, so the supervisor that I spoke to didn't know what I was talking about. Come to find out, the staff there didn't handle the situation correctly. They didn't even report it. So I called internal affairs. They did an investigation, and they ended up moving my son, 2 hours away to another county. Um, when my daughter-in-law called and said that they were moving my son, I said, moving him where? And um, I called back and I told them, asked about my son. They was like, oh, we don't know. I said, well, put somebody on the line that does know. And I spoke to a supervisor. Oh, we don't know where he is. And I said, put somebody on the line before I call internal affairs again. So the person that got on the phone, they was like, oh, such and such picked him up at this time. I said, well, what's the ETA? They told me where he was going, what time he left, and who picked him up. I said, you just killed my son. And they was like, what do you mean you just killed my son? I said, well, you're not supposed to tell me who picked him up, where they're going, and, the route and, the estimated time arrival. I said, you don't tell, somebody where you take an inmate to, and who's picking them up. So, you can hear rat piss on cotton at that point. So, um, it's just I ended up I ended up my son did end up getting, well, the person that shot my son's father, even though he got away with shooting my son's father, he had an ankle monitor on. He also got out on bail, which I thought was crazy. When it took them a while, at least a year, to give my son um, a bail. It took him over a year to get a bond, and for me to be able to pay 100,000. Well, his dad and his fiance and myself to put together $100,000 bond, and to even, for me to pay a $300 a month ankle monitor, when this guy, you know what I'm saying, he had ankle monitor on, and had, you know what I'm saying, he got right out on the bond, and it took us over a year, you know what I'm saying, to even, due to COVID, they said that they kept, resetting his court date, but he had $100,000 bond, and you know what I'm saying. Uh, it just took us that long to even get a bond. So, um, and my thing is, um, as a mother that works in a correctional field, um, I do want to apologize to the mother. And I know some people might say, why is she apologizing to the mother of someone who tried to kill your son? At the end of the day, I'm still a mother, and that I still live with the fact that my son took somebody else's son's life, even though that person tried to kill my son. That still affects me. You know what I'm saying? It also affects me that my son, who I'm used to seeing every day, has been taken away from me. Even though he's still alive and breathing, it still affect me, because that also took my son away, because now he's in jail. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get to see. So I still go through a grieving process as well.
Yeah. So what I wanted to share, because I know that forgiveness and apologizing is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But as we shared earlier, it takes someone to be
Mm-hmm.
the bigger person,
Mm-hmm.
and someone to apologize so it can be peace.
Yeah.
No, I always say that no matter how many times you apologize, no matter how many times you forgive the situation and other incidents that may have happened, you can't bring back a life, and you
Yeah.
can't buy back the time that's gone.
Yeah.
So the best thing for, and it takes time,
Mm-hmm.
because we can't tell people, and that's the problem. We can't tell people how to grieve.
Yeah.
You're grieving because your son is away.
Mm-hmm.
We both worked in the prison system
Yeah.
over 20 years.
Yes.
Both shared ranking positions.
Yes.
Both seen people murdered.
Yeah.
Seen suicide attempts,
Yes.
suicides,
Mm-hmm.
riots.
Yeah.
Not all good officers.
Yeah.
Creating situations, and we see situations where innocent people have been placed in situations where they die.
Yeah.
We see drugs trafficking in and out of the prison. We see inmates make homemade stuff as far as shanks and gun. I mean, yeah, guns.
Yeah.
Uh, alcohol.
Yeah.
And different contraptions that they did to booby trap bosses, and also the gangs inside the facility. So I can see you as a mother being concerned about your child, and I can see the other mom being just as concerned, because she will no longer get to see her son again, or the family will be able to see their loved one again. So I can definitely understand that it's grieving on both sides. And I, for one, want to commend you for looking at it in that standpoint. Because some people will be stubborn on their own side and say, hey, I can't see the bigger picture, not knowing, I know you're hurting on both sides. And some people don't know how to channel their anger, so they display it in other ways. And people that's totally innocent in the situation, innocent family members, such as you said, your husband, who didn't have anything to do with it, but because he supported his son, and because he's attached to the situation, then they end up getting hurt. And end up having threats and stuff that happen. So, it may never be to where you can personally just talk to the mother and she could personally just talk to you. We would like for that to happen. But just you apologizing now from a mother's standpoint and looking at the bigger picture is alarming and commendable. I would say that.
Yeah. Well, I don't personally know the other side of the family. I mean, other side of the family. I don't personally know these people. My son didn't even know the people. It just so happened that the guy moved in to the apartment next to him and didn't have electricity, and he had a kid with him, and so my son and his fiance just told him, you can stay with us for a couple of days until your electricity come on, and that's how they met each other. So we didn't even really know the people, you know what I'm saying? But my family is a family that welcomes anybody, you know what I'm saying? And anybody that knows us know that we welcome and will adopt, you know what I'm saying, people into our lives. So that's how, you know what I'm saying, that's just how we are. We just adopt any people into our lives, and even if the other mother didn't and don't understand or welcome my apology, you know what I'm saying? I sincerely apologize and I'm doing my part. God
That's
knows
all.
that I'm
That's
sincere
all.
and that's all I can do.
Yeah, that's all you can do as an individual is do
And
your part. Because
yeah,
you're not responsible
I'm
for
not
her
responsible
acceptance.
for her acceptance. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And not only did they try to take my son's life, they tried to take my son's dad's life. You know what I'm saying? And so that still bothers me that, when I get the call that my son took somebody's life, and then when I get the call, okay, your your son's dad just got shot in a drive-by. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? He's innocently trying to go and help his son. Okay, I'm devastated, you know, I'm devastated all the way around, and I'm still, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still forgiving these people that have interrupted my life. You know what I'm saying? So I still, um, I still live with the fact that you tried to kill my son's dad, and you tried, you know what I'm saying? And you tried to kill my son, and you put my son in a position to where he had to take a life defending his life.
But I want you to understand, because I hear your voice getting shaky.
Yeah.
I want you to understand that in order to move past this, you have to learn to accept the apology that you may never receive.
Yeah.
We can't go back to.
Well, I'm not asking an apology from them.
No. I'm just saying because this is a healing process.
Yeah.
It's a healing process. We can't go back and change the things that have happened.
Yeah.
But we have to learn to make peace and try to move past the situation to better the situation.
Yeah.
Because we already know that better days are coming.
Yeah.
People won't agree.
Yeah.
People won't agree with what happened. People won't agree with how the outcome happened. And that's something that's going to have to be accepted, because there's no way that we can change that.
Yeah.
There's no way that we can change that situation from happening. But I just want you to gain peace, because I hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
And I can see
the
emotion, and who wouldn't be, know?
Yeah.
But I don't want you to, because when we hold on to stuff, we become bitter.
Yeah.
And your heart is too big to be bitter.
Yeah.
And the thing to look forward now is making sure that your loved one is protected, making sure that your loved one makes the right decision, making sure your loved one is not placed in that same situation again.
Yeah.
And y'all, because now the situation surrounding your life is a little bit different, and theirs too. It's a little bit different. That's why I say it's power in forgiving and apologizing.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to apologize.
Yeah.
You could have been like, hey, my son was taken too. You didn't have to apologize. And I like that when we did the Boss Women of Houston show earlier, how we talked about the ending outcome, where we said that, we have to find something positive out of this negative situation. And the burdens, we have to lay it down.
Yeah.
And it was like you said that moment, like, things happen in life for a reason, and it's up to us to gravitate towards those reasons, learn the lesson, and move past it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, everybody won't see the way you see things.
Yeah.
Clearly with that.
Yeah.
Because your heart is big and your mind is open.
Yeah.
And not everybody's like that.
And it hits double hard for me because working in the prison system, and like you just said, I worked in the prison system for 20 years, and like you were saying, we've seen riots. Not only just seeing it, being supervisors.
We were inside.
We had to respond to these things, and
getting hit by
riot and I know I was on the 5-man team. You know what I'm saying? And we were the ones that they call
first responders.
So I've been a first responder. You know what I'm saying? I've seen dead inmates. I've seen hangings. I've seen suicide attempts. We've had to talk people out of suicide. You know what I'm saying? I've had to be talked to by the Chris, team. You know what I'm saying?
We was on the Chris.
So
we was a Chris member.
You know what I'm saying? So now I can't just. I'm one of the ones that had to make the death calls to the inmate's family. I'm one of the ones that had to call the chaplain. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm looking at it as a family member of an inmate. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen the inside. I've seen the outside. Now I'm on the inside. As now I have to call and check on my son. Is my son okay?
Right.
Right. So
and I get it, because if I could share a little of my testimony as well, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because when we went to work inside the prison system, we were trained to be sympathetic, but we had to do a job. So we couldn't wrap our feelings around procedure and policies. We had to do what the procedure and policy said to do. In spite of us seeing a person killed in front of us or hanging in front of us, we still have to follow formality. And to know that your loved one is in there, it's scary.
It is.
And I tell everyone, we was internally there. And so to be now on
the body bag.
You hear me? Following behind not only them in a body bag getting killed inside the prison, but also following them in an ambulance because they still on the count. And we had removed them from the count, so we still had to watch them while they were on the count. While they were dead, we had to be in there,
in the ambulance,
being a correctional officer to a dead offender. And so we understand that. And who wants their loved one to be in there? Soon as you get off intake, you got other offenders watching another offender, trying to see if they gonna initiate them in a gang or make them their punks. I'm just saying that to be flawless and real, that this is the experience that we have. So with you saying that, it makes you nervous that you have to know that your son is in that environment. When I was working for the state, I had 20 some years, and here I am on death row, working in there, traveling to different units, teaching these different officers, working with these different officers and ranking officers as well. And then my own family member got convicted of murder. And the first thing that I said is, how can I sit up there and work with the same people that may walk my brother to the death chamber.
And we've been in the death chamber.
We've
been there.
And I was like, how can I work with them? I know they're doing a job, but how can I work with them? So I understand the way you feel, because now you're not correction officers, ranking officer, you mama. You mama. And in spite of, you could be saying, they placed my son in this situation who caused this incident. Had he not been placed in this situation, this would have never happened. But and then too, you saying, okay, now it's easy, just as they in the holding jail detention, and they send people in there to beat him up, they can send hits on him inside the prison, and there's nothing that we can do when you have corrupt officers.
And we were there with the grad program, so we know that they go through the grad program to take out hits when they get into
they
general population.
Y'all, it's to the point to where we saw offenders who didn't need to be protected will make themselves look vulnerable in front of the officials to where they be placed on protective custody so they can go and make a hit. When I say hit, kill, have orders to kill another offender in protective custody. And because we place them in protective custody, they can mingle depending on the custody level with the other protective custody inmates. And then they carry out the hit because they know the loopholes in the system just like we did. And they're not going
to kill the correctional officer. They will tell you to get out the way because they have to take care of that hit.
But if you stay in
the way, they will kill you.
They will kill you.
They will kill you. They are going to, and it doesn't matter.
Because if they don't kill, they're going to get killed.
And see, the thing is, the prison is a world within itself. And the world don't get to see what we see. And because when we make it home, what people don't see, what we see when we go into the prison, there's a big sign that says we don't negotiate hostages. This is what we go through. What I've been going through, what you've been going through for over 20 years. When we went through the Sam Houston State, and people don't know that, we went to Sam Houston State Criminal Justice. You know what I'm saying? People don't know that about me because I don't advertise. I'm advertising now because my son is an inmate. You know what I'm saying? But I went through the Sam Houston, State Academy. You know what I'm saying? But when you actually go through the Walls unit and you go through it in that death chamber and you see the bed and you see the room, that's a whole different monster. You see that chair there. You know what I'm saying? It's just the chair, the bed. It's a whole different monster. You know what I'm saying? But when you see inmates, like for instance, when you see an inmate and they, they're in there taking pictures and you have to write down everybody that came through and all the way up to them, zipping the inmate up in a body bag. They done passed their last urine, their last bowel move and everything. And they toe tag them. The coroners put them out. Then you got to call the family. And the thing is, the family say, I can't afford to take his body. Then they have to take the inmate, you know what I'm saying?
Then the inmate becomes the
ward of the state. Yeah.
They buried with the TBC.
They don't know that we have to live with all of that
on our conscience.
Yeah.
And and I'm going to tell you the truth, because when we worked at the prison, some inmates will say, hey, Captain, don't come to work tomorrow because this is going down.
Yeah.
Or, they will let you know.
They'll let you know.
But when we worked in the prison, it changed us.
Yeah.
We became more authoritative. We became so strict to the point we couldn't play around, because when we walked in that door, we didn't know if we was going to come out alive in a bag or whatever. So I don't think people understand, especially what women had to go through working inside the prison. Because not only that, we were exposed to naked men and women doing searches, flipping mattresses just like men do. Whatever they did in the inside, we had to do. So now we see it's something about you knowing that your family member have to get butt naked in the hallway in front of people just to get strip searched, just to make it to the next destination they have to make, or coming out of wreck, having to get strip searched to make sure that they don't have any weapons or anything like that, just to go to different places. And so you say, I understand what happened, and it's the consequences,
just like how they tried to do my son.
Correction officers, I hate calling them.
I had to call internal affairs on how they tried to treat my son. And what you're not gonna do is mistreat my son. I will call it. I know. I'm glad that I, did know.
We had ombudsman office.
Yeah, here. Ombudsman. Yeah.
But different, like we say, different states go through different laws. This is what I want to tell people that I shared, is that when you travel, just don't travel to have fun. You need to travel and know the state laws. You need to know if you're carrying a handgun, what are the laws with that?
Yeah.
You need to know if it's a stand your ground state or if it's a self-defense state.
Yeah.
You need to know these things, because when situations happen, you can find yourself in a really bad situation that's really out your hands. And when you said earlier, I wanted to share that sometimes the legal system don't work the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
We already know that it's broken. And I say this with all honesty, not to put anything down on what anyone is doing in your respectful jobs or employment. But we know that anything that is in black and white can be amended. Anything in black and white can be changed. just like we have amendments to laws. It's different things that unfortunately situations have to happen in order for a change to be made, in order for a family to stand up and say, hey, I don't like what this state is doing, so we need to try to stand it. This is why it's important to go vote. This is why it's important to know what politician you let lead you. This is why it's important to know the leadership that is before you, because when you go before them, you're going to need to know the rules. We can't go to people and govern them or say different things without having facts. We can't say, okay, I feel like this needs to change. We got to bring facts to it. And you know, when I said this to say this, that maybe in your situation or certain situations that we've been exposed to, that things happen so changes can be made. And we know that a lot of times that we worked in the prison system, that changes came every other day that we had to implement. And to know that our kids and some of the offenders were confused just as well as the office was confused. Like we were saying, okay, yesterday we could do this, but now you're saying that we have to handcuff them this way, or when we have a use of force, we have to hold them in this position. And so they're confused, and sometimes miscommunication can come into play, and that officer get in trouble. Not intentionally, but it look intentionally because policies are put in place that really wasn't thoroughly explained. And you know, that's why it's important that when you travel, that you know all the ramifications, all the indications, everything that's involved in the traveling, what different states have.
And also anybody that is interested in becoming a correctional officer, go there to be a good correctional officer. Go there to learn that it's so many things to look out for, that you have to learn fight or flight, because if you don't pay attention, I mean, you're gonna be taught certain things, but certain things are common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like the calm before the storm. You got to look for signs. You got to know the calm before the storm.
Yeah. Listen, okay, it was different signs when you went in there, and you know, when you see the offender laced up and their pants tucked inside the sock, or when you see all of a sudden only Hispanics
so
and
with the
such and such is going, and they grouped off and they're not mixed up. You knew that it was going to either be a riot in that chow hall. Chow hall is where you eat, y'all. A chow hall was going to be a riot on their rec yard, education building. When they come from the fields in the shower, you knew something was about to go down because of the way they act. And the hallway normally be noise. Well, it depends on the specific unit. But if you had a unit like we worked in, the hallway stayed noisy. And all of a sudden you rolling out wreck and they quiet.
It's quiet.
You start looking like, oh no, we're not running wreck tonight.
We ain't running wreck today.
We short anyway. We're not running wreck. Because we already knew.
It's going down. If you see the Crips with the Bloods
mingle together,
it's going down. You got the Hispanics or the
Houston, Tongo Blast, Variuco Tongo Blast, and you got Texas Syndicate, Aryan Brotherhood, Aryan Circle, Mexican Mafia, all of these different gangs coming, and all of a sudden the Crips, the Bloods, the Mandigo Warriors, and all of them
all together on one team. It's
and
gonna
they
go down.
Normally don't be.
It's gonna go down.
You see them talking over here, and they normally don't talk. I mean, they don't understand. As women, it was hard because if I was an inmate who owed another inmate commissary or food, I'm gonna go try to hit a woman because I think she's an easier target. But they were sadly mistaken when they came around here, because baby, we fights in these streets, okay? We fight because I got a family to go home to.
They gotta look for they gotta know how to learn. They gotta read the gambling sheets.
You hear?
But see, some people they gotta know how to read the gambling sheets.
I fights in this street.
Yes, they gotta learn the gambling sheets.
See an inmate walking up too close to me. What's your problem, bro? Like, no.
You gotta learn the gambling sheets. You gotta learn the game up in there. You gotta learn the game. You gotta see if they buying too much commissary.
And you know that's another word.
They gotta learn they gotta learn the tattoos. But we worked in gang intelligence. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't tell a lot of people what I did because I'm an introvert.
And it's so sad because we can be out in a restaurant and the things that would normally gross people out, we sit up there and say, man, we done had this, and we laughing about it. Not laughing because it's funny, but laughing to try to mentally get over it. And we doing all of that, you know, and make long story short, the world think that we were crazy because we was like, no, we're not crazy. We just saying that this is the type of experience. It's just a certain code. It's just a certain correctional officer code that we had. And so we knew the ins and the outs of it. From them buying commissary and somebody extorting them about the commissary that's in the commissary line, they go back and give all their food away, and grandma done gave her last money to him, but he trying to stay alive. It just it goes all of that to where we had some staff that wasn't right bringing stuff in, and some drops that were made. It was just so much that went into being a correction officer that a lot of people don't know.
I know. I done been in the mall and I done heard somebody go, Sarge, and I'm like, oh Lord.
You don't know. Yeah, I was in Dallas one time, and it was a offender who was in there that got out was selling CDs. And he said, hey Lou, I told her, I said, keep going, because they can remember you, but you don't remember all 10,000 like,
oh Lord, who the hell? Sarge, T. And I'm like,
oh Lord.
Which unit? Because I done been on 3 units. I'm like, who in the hell? But which unit you done been on just by the way
they call you and address you. Yeah. I know when somebody say lieutenant, I know my career. When they say captain, I know my career. Of what part I was in and what units I was in. So I pretty much can gauge who it is. But it's a whole different ball game, and to know that your family member is going in that. It's a nerve-wracking thing. It's a nerve-wracking thing. But I will tell you, we had some good times working at the prison.
Yeah, we did have some good times.
Because you build a good bond. You build a good bond with people. That end up becoming more of a family to you than family. Because I've got some long time family friends.
I've got some from 20 years ago when I started there.
Yep. With old bad Mama Jamma, because I sure got on them.
We had some good times.
Good old times. And even through that, we had to learn how to forgive and apologize through that situation. Somebody said they had 25 years.
As we were praying, inmate or as a
officer? we prayed going in, and we prayed
you have
coming
to pray
out.
Going in, coming in and going out, because we have had some really rough bad times. We done had escapes. We didn't have to work side escapes. Of the road doing I was always fortunate to be in a control picket. I have always been fortunate during inclement weather. I was always fortunate to be in a control picket doing.
That was one of my reasons why I went and tried to promote for rank. Because I was tired of being on the side of that road in the cold with no weapon.
I was always either in the control picket or on command station.
No. But when I
never had to get on the side of the road. I was always in the control picket or on command center.
Yeah, when I promoted it, we had to go to different units.
But see, I knew all of the keys and stuff. So
I worked the control center, but when I worked, I couldn't be in there no more. But when we had to go to different units, we had to sleep in offices. See, that's another thing. We had to sleep in offices. We had to sleep wherever we could. In the gym, wherever it was room, because the units will be on lockdown, and that's a whole lockdown.
We could never go home.
Lockdown is a whole nother beast, y'all. And if you don't have any food, then they give out the Johnnies. You have to pass out Johnnies, and the inmates, man. Do you remember when they had food loaves? Oh, I don't know if they still like. And they mix everything up. It'd be a brick, and they chunk it back at you.
You know what? Let me tell you about my sons. They're so funny. We, Clemens unit, we stayed on lockdown. So I was in the women's BOQ. I could never go home. So, my room was the first room. My room was the first room when you under the guards.
Oh, she done said a unit. I wasn't supposed to say
I wasn't supposed to say the unit. A unit close by. But anyway, I ain't there no more. But anyway,
8 years there.
Yeah, but I ain't on that unit no more. But I was on the unit, and I was on the BOQs, and my son called. He said, Mama, what you doing? I said, I'm asleep. what you doing? He said, come outside. I said, you better not be in that parking lot. He said, just come outside. Well, my sons was in the parking lot, and I said, why y'all in the parking lot? They talking about we trying to make sure you ain't sneak no man in your room.
Oh Lord!
I was like, if y'all don't,
prison.
girl, if y'all don't get off my job.
And we found a lot of that though. A lot of officers that would fall in love with the offenders, and you know, it was so many stories, so many things.
It was a lot of corruption.
Yeah, so many things that have. Oh, corruption is nothing.
It was a whole lot of corruption.
Let me tell you, it was this one inmate offender that would. He was scary looking, you know what I'm saying, and he would play like he was a little I say play because he had good sense. You know how sometimes they come in, get that medication, and then they were off. Well, we were working one time. I had to work overtime, so I was working the night shift, and it was another officer that was in there with me. And we actually, I'm to tell you how the offender looked. We used to call him Boo. Okay, there we go. So we were doing that, and we coming around the thing, and I was like, Boo, go, Boo, go, move over there, because SSI. I said, Boo, go move over there. And so the other officer wasn't paying attention, and she had a whole stack of papers in her hand. And she turned that corner and saw Boo standing there, offender Boo standing there, screamed, papers went everywhere, and he's sitting up there like, what I do. And I turned around the corner because, baby, if you saw the way he looked, you can't be. And then it was really, really dark. So the room was dark and you couldn't see. You thought his eyes. Nothing but his eyes. Baby, he come out of that thing and she looked around that corner and all she saw was eyes. She didn't know whether to fight or flight. But baby, she threw the papers and got out of there. And I'm standing up there like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? She said, I don't know what's in there. I didn't see nobody. All I saw was eyes. I love, oh Lord, so we go over there, turn on the light, and the offender standing up there like, don't lock me up. I ain't do nothing. Y'all gonna lock me up. And it was an innocent, and we couldn't help but to laugh. We couldn't laugh in front of him. Yeah. But it was innocent, and people don't understand going through that gas, that chemical. I got immune to it.
Well, I got immune to it too, because I know we had some we had a fight in a chow hall. And they come in there throwing that gas and spraying that gas, and they was like, Sarge, how can you eat that gas like that? Because they be tough into it. Yeah, they be tough into that gas coming there. And I'm like, sit down.
We walk right in the middle of that gas.
And you walk
in Sarge, I mean, literally, we would walk right in the middle of that gas.
Eat that gas like that?
Yeah. And then what's up? That muzzle blast, baby, that was my good.
But the thing is, we learn because when we go through the academy, we already know how long it's gonna take.
But we were on units that had so many uses of force, and we had the video and we had to orchestrate.
Yeah, and we know how long it's gonna take until it
got to the point where all I knew is keep blinking your eyes.
Just keep blinking your eyes, and it's gonna
take slow breath.
Yeah, and it's gonna take 20 seconds to, you know what I'm saying?
It burns.
Yeah, it's gonna burn. It's gonna shut your insides
down. It'll make you walk and say, whoa. You be walking, that gas hit you, you gonna say, whoa. And then they'll tell me, bring the gas mask. I say, I don't know because
I almost threw up in my gas mask.
But what's the I know you're supposed to put on the gas mask, but you're already exposed. You're already exposed, so I'm gonna be breathing in this stuff anyway. I got it. Keep the gas mask for somebody that's gonna run.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I told my son.
But I told myself, going through that gas, that you choke up, you gonna be the one on the ground dead.
Yeah, it's a mental thing.
Yeah, I'll keep walking, and they be like, "Well, I ain't Superwoman, but I'm gonna be one today."
Yeah, it's a mental thing. You know how long it takes. You know what I'm saying, to affect you. You keep blinking, and then especially the smoke. You know it's
slow breath, not deep breath.
The burn, baby. It's gonna shut you down.
You take them.
It's gonna shut you down, baby. You better just. Let them 20 seconds come through, baby. Yeah. You just stand there and you just let it do what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
And you'll be all right.
Yeah. And y'all, we and the reason why
it's gonna boing.
It's gonna burn. The reason why we share what happens in the inside, a little bit of it, not all of it, because if we told you everything about it, they probably wouldn't have any employees working. But the reason why we said that, because when Miss Nikki, the CEO of Bad and Bougie Entertainment, apologized to the mother for the incident, for her son life being taken in the situation. We're trying to say that the power of forgiveness and apologizing is a real big step, because not only both parties are grieving or going through their specific mourning stages, but now it's the flip side of Miss Nikki's son being incarcerated in the same environment that we were employed at for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And to know that you got a family member in there, it's scary.
Yeah, I have two. Both of my sons.
It's scary. It's scary. And and the legal system is not always fair.
It's not.
It's not always fair. But this is why I'm saying that again, anything in black and white can be changed.
But also, let me say this: 2 inmates saved my life.
Oh, I had plenty saved my life in a riot.
Yeah, well, I had a seizure. I had a seizure, and I don't even know who the inmates were. Last year, I had a seizure at work. I went in at midnight, and this is what was told to me. I went in. I think they found me in the back of the kitchen. I remember that. They could have taken my radio and my keys. They could have raped me.
They could have done it.
Because on the unit that I was, one of them stayed with me, and the other one ran for help. I don't even know who the inmates are. On that. Did you? Yeah, I don't even know who the inmates are. I woke up in the hospital, paralyzed from that seizure. One they could have took my radio, my car keys. And they could have took my keys. So they have, and Byron.
Daniel Hunt say, I remember when I had to fight you for DT, when he had to fight me with the red man. Y'all, Daniel, tell him I can fight. I can fight now. Don't get it twisted. Just because I say hallelujah, I still know how to holler hands.
Tell him everybody knew when he was coming, because he always smelled good. It's the Miyagi.
We already knew when Hunt was rolling through, because he smelled good and he was crisp.
Baby. His pants could stand up by himself.
But one thing I would say that the prison has taught me is that I don't go anywhere not being observant. Because the offenders that saved it was Houston Tongo Blast and Valdeuco Tongo Blast fighting in the Chow Hall. And it was me and another sergeant. We were in the Chow Hall with, we had over 300 inmates. And the fight broke out. And immediately the lieutenant on the outside locked the doors, and they started dispersing gas. And we in there picking up pictures, trying to defend ourselves, because everybody look, we gonna get these officers now. And Houston Tongo Blast inmate surrounded me and the other sergeant in there. And I remembered him because he had a bull tattoo on the back of his head. And ever since that point, when I go out and I identify people, I always look at their clothes. I always look at what type of tattoo they have. And that way it lets me know if I have to identify somebody, that it's that tattoo that they have. Or it's something. So I'm looking person head to toe, and you'll never know. I'm listening, because we remember when we walked that cell block, we'd be on the second cell, and it go all the way down to 24, 27. We had to hear everything that was going on, because that one inmate could be waiting to spear us with a knife, trying to kill us because of something that another officer did. It don't always have to be us. I mean, and then the 21 gun salute, when they exposed themselves, we were exposed to offenders pulling out their private parts.
When I used to do count time and announce myself,
I sure did.
Baby, you better not even stand up to pee when I'm counting.
I used to say, officer on the block, if you got it out, put it up, because if it's out, I'm gonna get you. Level 2 code 20, sexual misconduct. You don't want it, because I know how to write it, and when I write it, it's gonna stick to the point to where you're gonna get some extra time.
I know.
I would announce that every time.
I know one inmate gonna tell me, because I always tell them female on the run. You better not even stand up to pee when I'm coming. And one inmate gonna try me, and I wrote him up because he know what he was doing, and he gonna say, he was putting on lotion and mine gonna stick, and then he was like, thanks to you, I got a 2-year setup. I say, no, thank your hand.
Thank yourself.
Thank your
hand. Thank yourself, because those type of things happen. Thank yourself. So I want to ask this, because I'm glad your mood shifted.
I know, girl.
I was trying my hardest to shift the mood.
Because I be laughing at some stuff, because I know we had a hurricane Ike came through, and Major came and he said, did you sign because they used to try to get us, wait till it's time to go home and say you got to sign that paper to stay. So on my way out, they said, well, you can go, check on your family. So on the way out, Major, one of the majors said, did you sign that paper? I used to could get away with stuff over there. So he said, did you sign that paper saying you was staying? I say, no, Major, if I would have signed that paper, I would have been lying. I'm going to go home to my kids. He couldn't do nothing but fall out laughing because he was going to go home. No, I was gonna go home.
I mean, I remember those. You can't go home. You're gonna get fired or written up. He like, I don't work for y'all all this time, and you're gonna try to write me up because I didn't stay. Well, do what you got to do. But out of all of this, I do want to share with our last remaining 10, 12 minutes we have. What have you learned out of this whole incident?
I did want to get it off my heart to for anybody that may be watching that may be kin to the family, because they were looking on our pages. I did want to apologize because nobody ever knew how I felt, because I didn't talk bad to the family when they were threatening my family. I didn't go off, even though I wanted to, when they shot my kid's father. You know what I'm saying? I went through so many emotions, you know what I'm saying? Even when my son recently went to jail, it's just so many emotions that I go through. I had to start back over going through emotions. My son's baby, he is incredible with her, and so is his dad, you know what I'm saying? And it hurts, that he had to be taken away from her. You know what I'm saying? That's his heart and soul. But for the most part, I got it off my chest to be able to apologize. You know what I'm saying? I still pray for the family, even though when my son went to court, the family found out, how much time he got, and they were upset and started again. But, I still pray that they can find it in their hearts to forgive my son, because I have forgiven them for interrupting my family's life. You know what I'm saying? Because we still have to live with myself and my son's dad, my daughters. You know what I'm saying? We still have to live with the fact that financially, you know what I'm saying? It hurt us financially, because we still have to put money on his books, make sure he's okay. That's not cheap. You know what I'm saying? Coming up with lawyer fees and you know what I'm saying? That's not cheap. It's worth it. That's our kid. And the mental part. Just so another mother losing her child at my child's, even though it was self-defense, at the hands of my child. So that's she's not the only one grieving. I can't reach out and touch my son and hug my son either. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying either like I'm being ugly. I can't literally reach out and touch my son and kiss him and hold him and touch him as I want to either. So but like I said, I my family is also kind of going through a grieving process, even though we can hear his voice when he called. But and then also that put something on his record. He didn't have a record before he went in.
What would you say as a mother experiencing this incident, and coming up with the idea, because it's an idea, because you have to feel it in your heart first before your mouth will speak to even say, I want to apologize?
It's genuine. I feel it in my heart because that is somebody's child as well. You know what I'm saying? That was somebody's child too. So
Right.
um I I truly apologize that his life was taken, but he tried to kill my son, and had the shoe been on the other foot, if my son was on the phone talking to his dad, and this guy had already been threatening my
I
son.
understand. I
Yeah.
understand. I think what I'm trying to say is, we know the circumstances.
Mhm.
As a mother to help another mother,
Mhm.
and I know you were saying in the other part that you were saying, in the long run, I'm a mother and I still understand.
Yeah, I understand. I
Right.
truly understand. And as a mother, I agree with her. Her son's
I'm
life
saying
was
speaking
taken.
to other mothers that may be in the same situation that you're in.
Other mothers that may be hurt. Some mothers may not even feel it in their heart to
That's
apologize.
true.
You know
That's
what I'm
true.
saying? And they
What would you say to them?
to find it in their hearts to apologize, because if you carry that burden, you're gonna be bitter. You know what I'm saying?
And
And
that's a
that
slow death.
yeah, it's a slow death. And also because even with me apologizing, it still hurt. You know what
Yes.
I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah. Oh
Even
yeah.
with me apologizing, it's not gonna stop the pain. It's not gonna stop the pain. But it does make me feel better.
That's it.
It does make me feel better.
That's it.
Hmm.
And it makes you feel better. And it in certain situations where I had to deal, because I have a brother that's doing life.
Well, the thing that I think that if I hadn't seen the guy's picture, and then, well, because you have nightmares, you know what I'm saying? I saw the video of where they picked the guy's body up. You know what I'm saying? So it's traumatizing. You see them put. I saw the picture where they put him on the ambulance. I saw his picture. So I have to relive that, knowing that my son,
Was the
you know what I'm saying, was the reason for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's something.
And
It's
it's a
it's
hurtful
senseless.
thing.
It's
It's sensitive,
senseless.
right?
It's
But it's
senseless.
sensitive because no mother wants to think
Yeah, and
of their
even though I'm
son in
not
that
his
manner.
mom, I had
Right.
to see that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it was, it. He didn't even have to come and continue after my son. You know what I'm saying? I guess, and I'm not just saying my son, just in any situation, if somebody is ignoring you, that doesn't mean that that person is afraid of you. You know what I'm saying? Just don't keep pushing the issue, because it starts to become, now you bullying somebody just because they're not feeding into what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Now you got your buddies with you, and now you're harassing this person, and then it turns into bullying, and then you running up to them thinking that they're afraid of you, and then you threatening to kill them, and then you turn around and you become the victim. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now your family have to grieve, and then that other person's family have to grieve. You know what I'm saying? And if the shoe was on the other foot, the type of person that person was, they probably would have been glorifying it. My family is not glorifying it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's we don't know.
Yeah.
On the other side, we wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
But I can understand how you could feel and take that position. But the main thing is I'm saying, because we close,
Yeah.
is the healing process that I want you to go through,
And you
because
have helped me a lot through
going
this, and I
through it.
thank you.
I appreciate you for sharing such personal stuff with me, because it don't go anywhere. If you share something with me, I'm not the person to talk gossip or anything. It stays strictly with me. So I appreciate you even talking to me about that. And I witnessed, you call me, and we'll be like, and I try to be the neutral person in the situation, and saying, hey, I want you to look at it from both perspectives. I understand where you are, but looking at it from both perspectives and trying to remove your emotions help you think a little clearer.
Yeah.
To where you can make a sound decision to
Yeah.
even have the forgiveness and even have the notion to even apologize.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's a good thing,
Yeah.
because that's the roadmap to healing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard.
Yeah.
We done talked, and I done heard your tears, and all as
Yeah.
soon as I hear the tears coming, I try to do something funny to shift you, you know, or do something crazy. You gonna always laugh, but to try to shift you, because it's nothing like having a good support system. And I would say that your family is a good support system.
Yeah.
And I love the way that they just take me in like I'm part of the family,
Yeah.
and vice versa, you know. So I just want to say that I'm praying for you. I'm praying for their family, and I'm praying for healing for all parties.
Yeah, and I pray for healing for the other family
that's going
too,
through the situation,
and prayerfully they will forgive my son,
and praying for safety.
Yeah,
praying for forgiveness, praying for everybody to be able to move forward and you know, make the best of where they are.
Yeah,
because you know, it's nothing like trying to hold bitterness or angry and everything. And the good thing about that I know about you and your heart and the way you think, not saying that I'm in your brain,
you always are.
But the way you think is that you have such a good heart that your forgiveness overshadows the room, and that's what makes you Miss Bad and Bougie.
Thank you, thank you. Well, on a positive note,
yes,
while ending this, I have a show coming up. First, I have a show coming up August 31st. It's R&B in the Red Room at 5 Central. Yes, and then I also have a show coming up September 24th with Elo the Great.
Elo the Great.
Yes, and that's at headquarters. And then LB Production also has a car show coming up October the 2nd at R&B Ranch. Bad and Bougie Entertainment is also bringing the entertainment. Young Al is the headliner, so shout out to LB Production. It's going to be at the R&B Ranch at 14149 Player Street.
Oh, brew. And the shifting specialist, me, and Bad and Bougie Entertainment will be bringing y'all educational classes at the Arena Tower, right? And starting soon. We'll give you the dates, and when we do that, you don't want to miss it, because it's going to be an empowerment session that we're going to have, and when we do it, it's going to be off the chain.
So we have a lot of things in store for you guys. Thank you for listening to my story, and thank you, Dr. Gaskin, for helping, healing, and all of the amazing things you helped me with. Loves and kisses.
So this is Ear Hustle TV podcast live. Until next time, love, peace, and unity. Bye-bye.